Hi. I have been asked to channel live, which I haven't done in quite a while, so I'm like a little nervous. But before I begin, I'd like to tell you a little bit about how I do this. First, I am what's called a conscious channel. And what that means is I may have my eyes closed, I may have my eyes open, and I'm aware of what's going on around me, but I am still getting the message. So, for instance, if you came in the room to speak to me, or if my cat walks in or anything like that, I notice and I'm aware of it, but I'm still receiving the messages anyway. I speak in my own voice, so it's not like an altered voice coming out of me. Although many times the words may seem a little odd or, not commonly used. And you may see my hands doing odd motions or my face moving around a bit, but that's just how my body handles the energy that's coming through. Let's see, I don't use any kind of tarot or divination cards or pendulums or any other tools while I channel. It's just me receiving the message. And then finally, I never know what they're going to say before they start. They never tell me anything. There have been plenty of times when I've requested for them to talk about certain things, but they don't really do that. They seem very aware of who's going to be listening to this afterwards. Um, and my guess is that I'm just much clearer without having any preconceived notions of what they're going to say. So, with that, I'll get started. So, I'm just going to take a moment to close my eyes and connect in. And I'm getting the sense today that this is the Starseed Nation. The Starseed Nation, when they come in, always starts with a sentence, I come to you in love. And here they are. We come to you today bringing messages that many wish to hear. We come to you today in a world that feels like the card decks are shuffling and many old things are being thrown out and many hands are being held. As they say, close to the vest. We are aware that there are many factions of people on the planet feeling all sorts of different ways about what is happening. Some of you feel senses of fear and outrage and anger, while others feel that all that they see is wanted and appropriate. We see all the different moving pieces, and for this we tell you, we are actually proud of you. We're proud of you all for holding space during a time that is very tumultuous, but we say necessary, and we say destined. For those of you who feel uncomfortable and even afraid, we tell you that there are many things in your country that could not have stayed the same. The energy was building to such an extent that the geyser had to explode. They were not sustainable systems. And we have come to you over the years to let you know that these were not sustainable systems and that many systems would indeed fall eventually. Whether you like the way you see them falling or not, and we interject that we know that many of you do not like the way you are seeing systems fall and change and morph into something different. We tell you that something had to shift. Please take a breath. We do not claim to join any one side or another, to say that any one way to have accomplished this was the better way. This was the way chosen by, sorry, they were about to say the all, and I was going to say actually not. So let me get the word that they want to talk, that they really want to tell us here. This is the way that was chosen. This was the way that, so I'm looking at the election, I'm looking at our government right now and the choices that this is Randy, by the way, and I'm looking at the choices that our government has come to. And we have to look at all the people who voted one way and the other and all the people who didn't vote. And we still have to come to the sense of knowing that this was the way that was chosen. Okay? So let's stay with that and let me see where else they want to go. Yes. All decisions that are made from a place of large groups are invariably decisions of mass consciousness, whether you believe that or not, and whether you believe that you were part of that particular mass consciousness or not. Understand that any uncomfortable feelings that are inside of you come from the knowledge that the world is moving at a faster pace than you had hoped it would move, and by means that you had hoped would not have happened, and that these are ways that are challenging to your ego, right? To the ego, not to, these are not ways that are challenging in any way to God or to the universe. These are ways that feel uncomfortable from a sense of what we think from the ego place are supposed to happen. So individuals of like mind would want this to have been done a different way. But from a mass perspective, maybe you want to say universal perspective, this was the way that was chosen. This allows for many different things to happen. One thing that happens is that systems that haven't been working come to light, okay? So whether or not we like the way that they're being taken care of, we see what they are. What also comes to our awareness is other ways that this could have been taken care of, but never has been taken care of. Let's take that in for a minute. And then finally, what comes to light is that each human being has awakening within him or herself their own priorities and sensibilities about the world. And all of these things are so important and would have remained sleeping had the status quo not been pushed. We, the Starseed Nation, understand that this can be hard to hear. And we understand too that there is a deep, deep, heartfelt hope that this would not have come to this. But here we are. And we as a Starseed Nation want you to recognize that we honor you so much for caring so much, for knowing that the system could not have been maintained as it was. And for having your heart break open into understanding that there's a need to bring to fruition other ways to shift out of the old paradigms that no longer support you and into new ways of doing things that bring up all people, all groups, all nationalities to hold space in a beautiful and equal way to step into a new world. And the mere knowledge of that by so many people is what will create that to happen. Take a breath. From a political standpoint, the president now will not be in office forever, but will set into motion, has set into motion, breakdowns that will then need to be healed. Okay, so this is Randy coming in, and what I want to say is what I see is that the foundation beneath us is crumbling, and it's terrifying and it's heartbreaking to some. And to other people, and I've heard these other people, and I've spoken to other people, they feel like this is what's needed, this is what was wanted. Okay, so we've got both, and it's fine to have both. But what's going to happen, what the point is that what's going to happen is this foundation is crumbling beneath us. And when this president leaves, there will still be the crumbles to have to take care of, okay? And we will all have to come back to figuring out what to do about it. And, you know, there's a point coming in here that it will be large groups of people who are not in the government who will be the ones to actually enact the changes that will bring more light, will be of the light, will be supportive of light to the planet. Kutumi mentioned last week that it will be important to stop looking to outside institutions to be the whole support of each and every one of you. That requires individuals turning into small groups, turning into larger groups, to be the ones to determine what changes will come of all of this. We have spoken many times over the years of smaller and more community-wide support systems. And you can see the need for those building. But you can also see evidence of those having been built. So we say to you, fear not. And we say to you, please know that you are safe in these transitional times. That your hearts are bursting open in many different ways. And that heart light goes out to begin to create new innovations, new pathways, new systems that will then support more people. So this is Randy coming in again, and I'm pointing out, I want them to recognize the people who are actually in fear here, that there are rights being taken away. And someone said to me, whose rights are taken away? Well, women's rights have been taken away. immigrants' rights have been taken away. You know, uh, the LGBTQ community's rights have been taken away. This is a time of truth when that's coming, and so I'm putting that out to them. I'm like, oh, don't forget, it's not. Some people actually don't feel safe, and so when the Starseed Nation talks about safety, I've seen this before. I think they're talking about sort of this universal safety. You're safe, but I'm saying, there are some groups of people in this country that really don't feel safe. So let me go back in here and ask them to address that. So this is their answer. The people who are in positions to feel less safe and, in fact, at risk are all individuals who have soul contracts to be in those positions to help awaken more people. Please remember that every single human being has within their cells trauma from previous lifetimes. When individuals and groups are now put into potentially traumatic situations, that wakes up the trauma response in other people who have lived through lifetimes of experiencing similar trauma. It's important for that cellular memory to reawaken because, again, it brings to the forefront the need to create options to save and serve these individuals and groups. It's an important component, actually, of what is happening. It's an important component of what is going on. So therefore, we would like you to know that you need not worry about anything not being right or in the right. But what we ask you to do is stay awake to what is brewing inside of you and in your heart. And as we say every week, listen to your heart to do the next right thing. Is the next right thing for you to be doing your own healing, working on your own individual trauma to heal that so that you can come out stronger? And as you know, every time you heal your own particular trauma, you contribute to the healing of everyone else on the planet. And that may be your next right thing. Or your next right thing may be to join a protest. Or your next right thing may be to come up with a plan or to join someone else who has a plan. All of these are possible and all of these are potentials. So come back to this place of knowing that you're safe, breathing into yourself, sitting back, activating within you your own light in whatever way that you can, in whatever tiny little way that you can, in whatever expansive way that you can. You activate your own light and you add to the healing of this, you add to the rebuilding of the foundation that's underneath you, that foundation that needs to be adjusted for the higher vibrations of the planet, that needs to be adjusted for the balancing of the masculine and feminine, that needs to be adjusted for the equality amongst everybody on the planet. We, the Starseed Nation, hold you in the light. We're here for you every week. We welcome questions and we welcome opinions and we welcome inspirations We hold each of your hearts in the light. We are proud and we love you. Okay. Well, sometimes for me, these bring up a lot more questions, and I know I'm going to have a lot more questions over time, a lot to think about with this particular message. I think in some ways this is a culmination of many messages that I've gotten over the months that I've been doing this, the years that I've been doing this, really. And in some ways, I know that it's hard to hear. I mean, it's often hard for me to hear. I just go, okay, well, I guess we're exactly where we're supposed to be. And the challenge of that is for all of us to be as awake as we possibly can to, okay, this doesn't work. That didn't work. That thing that was supposed to just fix it didn't work. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do locally, right? What are we going to do personally at home? How are we going to support everybody through this? Great questions, right? Great questions, all in need of answers, I think. Yeah. Oof. So listen, thank you. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. And remember, if you resonate with this, please subscribe, hit like. Let's get these messages out there. Let us get these messages out there to the world. Yeah, please. Okay. Thanks for everything.